AM 1100 and 92.3 FM, WZFG, Dilworth, Fargo, Moorhead, USA. It's 4 o'clock.
Whatever it takes, I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. And as long as it takes, that message from President Biden as he got a firsthand look in Kentucky at some of the areas shattered by tornadoes. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, the president walked and talked with families in Dawson Springs, hometown of Governor Andy Beshear's dad, who was also governor at one time. The president promised all that's needed to recover and rebuild. He also announced that for a short time, it will be on the federal dime.
The government's going to cover 100% of the cost, 100% of the cost for the first 30 days for all the emergency work, from clearing everything to every single cost.
The president said FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers are already on the ground and more help is coming for states hit by these storms. Lisa.
Gernal, a threat of more severe weather in much of the Midwest and the plains today, fueled in part by more unseasonably warm temperatures in the 70s for parts of Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, and Missouri. California cleaning up from record rainfall, including 11 inches over 72 hours north of San Francisco. That triggered mudslides and rescue efforts. COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are back on the rise in the U.S., highlighted by today's White House COVID briefing, still driven mainly by the Delta variant.
The Omicron variant now makes up 3% of cases, though that number's higher in New York and New Jersey. Dr. Fauci laid out data he said that showed how important a booster vaccine is in fighting the new variant.
The 2-dose mRNA vaccinated people who received a booster dose had a substantial increase in neutralizing activity to the tune of a 38-fold increase.
Though the vaccines, even with that booster, are still not as effective against Omicron as against other variants.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Canada is now urging its citizens to avoid non-essential travel abroad. America is listening to Fox News.
When news breaks, millions are turning to Newsmax. Get the latest on COVID, Biden's inflation, and the truth from Washington. Each weekday, Chris Salcedo probes vaccine mandates and looks at the potential dangers. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or streaming on Amazon Fire, Samsung, Roku, Zumo, Pluto, and more. Millions are also watching the free Newsmax app on their phones. So download it today and start watching Newsmax for news you can really trust.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Social media for a good cause as money is raised for tornado relief.
More than 11,000 helping to raise over $750,000 through Facebook and Instagram fundraisers to provide relief to those affected by the recent tornadoes across the central U.S. Meta sharing the details on Twitter, posting, "We were inspired by the ways people are coming together," encouraging folks to visit its Facebook crisis response page to learn more about other ways to assist those in need. Folks can also visit redcross.org, and students at the University of Kentucky College of Medicine collecting funds through a GoFundMe page. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Kentucky's governor also set up the Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund. Bipartisan support in the U.S. Senate for a defense bill that totals more than $768 billion and keeps women out of the draft. It also changes the way the military handles sexual assaults and lays the groundwork for a new memorial honoring those who've served in the global war on terror. The Fed concerned enough about inflation to change its plans.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell says we are not going back to the same economy we had in February 2020, and the central bank is prepared to raise short-term interest rates at least 3 times next year to cool high inflation. But the benchmark rate will remain at near 0% for now. In addition,
in light of the strengthening labor market and elevated inflation pressures, we decided to speed up the reductions in our asset purchases.
The central bank will likely end them altogether in March, March. And Powell adds,
Economic activity is on track to expand at a robust pace this year, reflecting progress on vaccinations and the reopening of the economy.
Powell did say that rising COVID cases and the new variant pose a threat to the economic outlook.
Fox's Hillary Barsky. Wall Street rallying after the announcement. The Dow and the NASDAQ up more than 300 points. And Lisa Brady, Fox News.
A winter weather advisory goes into effect this evening. We'll have a wintry mix entering the area, which will quickly turn over to snow, along with winds out of the northwest picking up between 25 and 40 miles per hour, gusting into the mid-50s. Snow showers will continue into the overnight hours as we drop down to a low of 8. Could see some near blizzard-like conditions as well, with around 1 to 4 inches of accumulation and higher amounts 5 to 10 just to the east. From the Flag Skywatch Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Justin Storm.
For place to shop this Christmas, come to Prairie Bricks. Prairie Bricks is the area's only third-party Lego store located in the Moorhead Center Mall. Inventory changes rapidly. We have new, used, rare, and vintage Lego sets. And we also buy your unwanted Lego products with cash. Star Wars, Friends, Technic, Harry Potter, Afghans, build your own minifix, collectibles, vintage section, and fill-a-bag areas, and much more. Check out our Facebook page and stop in the Moorhead Center Mall to Prairie Bricks.
One more time, got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate and dance so free. One more time, music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate.
The Chris Berg Show, where faith and freedom reign.
One more time.
Imagine doing something for 32 years. Like you've been just immersed in something that you love, that you're passionate about for 32 years. And then you kind of go, you know what? Might be time for a change. Some big breaking news today. North Dakota Senate Majority Leader Rich Wardner retiring. He will not run for re-election in 2022 after 32 years of service in our great state. He's going to join us here in just a moment. Also, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell spoke today. It's interesting. I spoke to Senator Kevin Cramer in the last few weeks, and we had a great interview. And one of the things he said to me was, you know, Chris, it's amazing. President Biden can go speak. Mitch McConnell can go speak. But boy, when Jerome Powell speaks, it's like E.F. Hutchins, right? Like when Jerome Powell speaks, people listen. It moves the markets. And so today, Chairman Powell signaled that rates may raise 3 times next year. So change of plans there because of the inflation happening across our nation. Welcome to the Chris Berg Show. This is your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Free from tyranny. Today might be a little bit about financial freedom. We're definitely going to get into health freedom. We got a special guest coming up. I had mentioned to you a while back how I went to go see my chiropractor, and she says, Chris, I've been doing this for 16 years, and I've never seen so many people so sick. So what can you do to protect or improve your immune system if you're someone that's dealing with COVID? Because there's people that are sick all over the place. What can you do to get onto the road to recovery, to strengthen that immune system and do it in a natural way? We've got Dr. Jake Schmitz. He is with Freedom. Love this. Freedom Wellness Center. So we're going to talk about what you can do to have freedom around your health by empowering yourself and taking accountability for that. And oh, by the way, coming up later in the show, so Jake does a great job breaking down school board meetings. As we shared with you yesterday, there was the Fargo School Board meeting last night. We had a fascinating conversation with the fact that Fargo schools have now asked these mobile vaccination units to go to all the different public schools so that the kiddos, including the young kiddos, because it's going to be at Claire Barton this Friday, that the young kiddos can get vaccination shots. So I've got a statement here from Fargo Public Schools as well as Family Care Health that I'll share with you later in the show as I reached out to them yesterday asking, hey, let me ask you something because, you know, why are we doing this? We talked about this yesterday that the hospitalizations, the death rates amongst the youth, very, very, very low when it comes to COVID. And yet now we've got these mobile vaccination units going across Fargo and they're going to be on public school grounds offering these COVID shots to our youth. And I think it's important that you are privy to that, knowing that this obviously is for under emergency use purposes right now anyways, emergency use authorization. So I think it's important you know what's happening at our school. So Amazing show coming up today. If you want to call in at any time, the number to do so is 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. We're coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studio, helping you and America fuel better. I want to bring in Senate Majority Leader Richard Wardner as he announced his retirement earlier today. Senator Wardner, thanks so much for your service to our great state. I mean, 32 years. That's a long time, my friend. So what was the impetus for you to finally say, hey, 32 years is enough?
Well, thank you for having me on, Chris. I guess, it was a family decision. 3 years ago, we decided, my wife and I, that this would be my last term in office, partly because, the majority leader's role in the legislature is really become a full-time job. And I've worked hard at it, and I may try to make sure that I take care of not only the caucus and the Senate, make sure they get the information they need, but it is a full-time job, and I felt that I'm getting to the age where maybe it's time for me to step back and let someone else say.
I got to share with you, Senator, and I say this a lot here on the show and as I'm having conversations with people across the great state of North Dakota. Born and raised here. I think you were born in North Dakota, yes?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
North of Bismarck, little Mercer, North Dakota was my home.
So I look across the landscape of our great state now, and I look at all four quadrants, and I think, wow, I don't know. And this is why my question to you is, has our state ever been positioned so well economically to just take off and really lead this nation from an economic standpoint?
No, I think North Dakota is sitting in a great position. And if everybody is patient, if the people of the state are patient, this state has a great future. And when I talk about a great future, having good infrastructure and also having low taxes. But we just need to be patient. That legacy fund is starting to kick in, and it's going to make a big difference. It's going to have a real quality of life here.
So when you say patient, are you talking like coming out of the 2023 session or 2025? What's patience mean to you?
Patient means that we don't try to start spending the principal or try to spend too much too soon. There's a lot of people that have a lot of wants out there, and some of them are very good, but we just got to wait a while. For example, there's a lot of people that say we got to get rid of property taxes. Well, I think we need to lower them. And if you go too soon and start taking the money and using it for property taxes, pretty soon you won't have anything left. Now, I happen to think that we still need property taxes because we need to have some local say in our decisions. You'd hate to have everything in Bismarck, and you'd have to go down there and beg for whatever you need in your community.
Yeah, I agree with you. It'd be nice to see some more local levers, if you will. You're just joining us. Senator Rich Wardner, the Senate Majority Leader here in the great state of North Dakota, announced today he will not be running in 2022. So he is retiring after serving 32 years in the state legislature. Two more questions for you, sir. One, in 32 years, the greatest accomplishment as a legislator or a Senate Majority Leader in your eyes that you accomplished is what?
Well, I think that in the 2013 session, and I was a part of it. I wasn't the whole push behind it, but that was when we took 115 mills away from the property tax payers for school funding, and the state took it over, and we used oil money to do that, and we continued to take care of that obligation to this day. The second thing when I go with it would be when we got the surge money, which was $1 billion to take care of infrastructure needs in Western North Dakota. Now, I realize that was more regional, but I'm telling you, the state was very much, it was pretty shabby looking, and we needed roads fixed. We were killing people, and getting those two things done, I think, helped people all across the state of North Dakota.
One last question, sir. You've got a limited amount of time left as the majority leader, as a legislator. So what's the number one thing on your agenda to get done before you hang up the cleats, as you and I would say?
All right, I got 3 projects that I'll be working on and helping get ready for the next session. Number one, we want to improve the relationship with our tribal governments, state and tribe relations. That's one. Number two, be working on property tax, taking and over more of school funding so that we take more of the school funding into the state, take it off the property taxpayer. And the third thing, this is a local thing for those in Fargo. We need to get Waldron Hall redone because that affects every farmer in the state of North Dakota. And that's where research is done on all of our crops. So those are my 3 things that I'm going to be working on.
You're going to be a busy man. So Senate Majority Leader Rich Warner, again, thank you for your service to our great state. You positioned us very, very well. I'll give you the last word, sir. Anything else you want to share?
No, I just appreciate the fact that I got to serve the people of North Dakota for 32 years. People have been good to me.
So are you going to go back to coaching or what's next?
Well, you know what? That has crossed my mind. I can't get it out of my system. Someplace in education, I hope to make a contribution. So we'll see.
Well, Coach, if you get back on the sidelines, as you and I would always say, at least I hope you would say this, just throw it deep and throw it often, right?
Yeah, you as a ex-quarterback, I know that's what you are.
Exactly. I was just like, Coach, let's just throw it. Let's just go for it, Coach. We'll figure it out. So, Senate Majority Leader Rich Warner, God bless you, and thanks again for the time today, sir.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Take care. We'll talk to you soon. So I hope as you listen to that interview, which if you're just joining us, that was Senate Majority Leader Rich Warner. He announced his retirement today. And I hope that you noticed the theme, right? I mean, there is such a dominant theme in that short conversation. We chatted for, I don't know, maybe 5-6 minutes here. And clearly you can tell that he continues to hear from his constituents, hear it from you often, but it's the property taxes. It's the property taxes in North Dakota. Now, he did say we want to continue to lower those. And I think one of the things that we want to talk about is this, if this progresses, is you remember he mentioned in 2013, they took over a bunch of the mills within the state, which we thought, hey, this is great. And it did lower some of the property tax situations. And yet many of us saw our local governments not really lowering their budgets, right? They're like, oh, hey, we've got all this state subsidy money. Now we can go out there and continue to spend or figure out other ways to do that. So that's one thing that if their state's going to do that, we want to make sure that we're keeping the local people accountable, which is why, as you know, here in the Chris Berg Show, we talk often about city commission meetings, school board meetings, which we're going to talk about later in the show with Dr. Jake Schmitz. The other piece he mentioned that did catch my ears. He said, hey, Chris, I don't know if we want to get rid of property taxes because then, that's too much state power. It's going to be in Bismarck, that of that nature. And I think that is a fascinating idea. Because one of the ways that you build wealth in America, obviously, is through home ownership and real estate ownership, right? Imagine for a moment if you really, truly owned your home and your land and you didn't have any property taxes. I mean, that is such a game changer, especially if you're someone who's on a fixed income, you're maybe a little bit older, you've been in that house now for a long, long time, and you wake up one day and the state of North Dakota says, hey, guess what? No more property taxes. You might even get up and do a little dance, right? Do a little dance. I mean, I'm telling you, people would be dancing if there was no property taxes and you really, truly owned your property. Fascinating conversation. Now, why is that important to you? Because if you truly owned your home and didn't have property taxes, and I'm so happy that I get to say this to you, imagine the freedom that would give you in your life. Because the Chris Berg Show is your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Imagine if we could set it up where there's no property taxes in North Dakota. Think about the freedom that would give you in your life if you just truly outright owned your home and didn't have to give anything to a government entity to own it. that is one avenue of freedom that I'd like you to think about, imagine, and we could actually create that here in the great state because of things like the legacy fund, some things that are out there to make some levers move. All right, speaking about freedom, I think one of the greatest freedoms that you and I can have is freedom around our health. And I say that because think about this for a moment. If you don't have your health, and you and I all, we've gotten the flu before in our lives. Some of you may have had COVID, but you've all had those bouts where you're just down and out for 4, 5, 6 days. And you're like, oh my gosh. You're like, Jesus, if you can just make me feel better, I'll never do that again, right? Or whatever may have happened. We all have been there. And I say this because if you don't have your health, I mean, let's say you're a gazillionaire, but if you don't have enough health to get out of bed and do anything, what's the point? So essentially, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. You don't have the ability to have vitality in relationships and be with your kids and grandkids. And our health is so paramount. And yet many of us have been miseducated when it comes to what can I do to empower myself around my own health freedom and build my immune system and increase my vitality, be a productive citizen within our community and our nation. So when we come back, I think I'm going to get this right. Actually, I'm probably going to get it wrong, so I won't say it. Dr. Jake Schmitz is going to join us. He is a top-notch health nutritionist coach. We're going to talk about what you can be doing to either make sure you don't get COVID, or if you've got COVID or a flu or whatnot, what kind of protocol can you put in place to build that immune system and kick this thing out of your system sooner rather than later, and do it natural. Natural. If you want to call in and ask him questions, number 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. This is the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free.
Hi, everyone. This is Jake Dahl with OnSharp. OnSharp helps businesses grow with powerful websites, apps, and custom software development. Very happy to be joined here today by Chris Lean from Brannick Industries. So thank you again, Chris, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So, Chris, we created a website for Brannick. When you guys were looking into having a website redesign, what were some of the main issues that you guys were experiencing that led you to do that project?
Well, our website that we had existing was very outdated. It had been static for years. It really didn't have a lot of good content. It had a lot of content, but the flow of that content was unorganized. Navigability was very poor. It was difficult to find anything you were looking for. And we wanted to start an online shopping presence. We had never had one in the past, so it was something new for us. And we really needed to get that going.
Yeah, I remember having those discussions with you guys, and I knew that was kind of one of the main reasons for sure with it. What was, just kind of overall in working with us, what was your experience like with OnSharp?
I thought it was fantastic. We were looking for a company that was able to do what we needed done, and also someone that fit with us, with our personality. And we wanted someone that could deliver a website that we were really looking for, especially the update and that shopping.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel like those results were accomplished with kind of the project that we did for you?
We did. Everybody was thrilled with the results. Our website now, we look like somebody from the 2000s rather than somebody from the 80s. So it really did help out. Our online shopping has been a benefit. We don't promote at all, and yet we're still seeing sales on a regular basis from it. So
that's great. That's really good to hear. And that's one of the things we always try to strive for as well, is making sure that we, exceed clients' expectations from that perspective. I guess, ultimately in your experience in working with us at OnSharp here, Chris, I mean, would you recommend OnSharp to other companies that are in need of a website redesign?
Oh, definitely. I think, the quality you're going to get from it, especially at a reasonable price for the work that's done, I think you'd be more than happy with it.
Excellent. Well, we really appreciate you saying that. Chris, I can't thank you enough for being here today. Our team at OnSharp helped Brannick get their website done right. And to learn how we can help grow your business, please visit us at onsharp.com/getitright.
Is your company's website actively helping to grow your business, retaining customers, and bringing in new ones? If your answer is no, or even worse, I don't know, OnSharp is here to help. OnSharp is a world-class web development agency based right here in Fargo, and we can show you how your company's website can become your most powerful asset. We've developed a free resource guide called Getting It Right the First Time to help you plan a successful website redesign project. Download your free guide today at onsharp.com/getitright.
This day is a new bird. He sings a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, "Are you married?" We'll say, "No, man, but you can do the job when you're in town."
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studios. You're out driving around today. I want to remind you, please stop into your local PetroServe USA, grab some gas and some goodies. And when I say goodies, I mean delicious, delicious goodies. One example is they've got this beautiful, I love it, the 4 for $4. You can go in there and you get a nice little pizza, 20-ounce fountain drink, and then 2 of their delicious, delicious cookies just for $4, just $4. So if you want to grab maybe like a late morning snack or a lunch, or you're heading home and you're like, yeah, I don't feel like cooking, but I want to grab something that's going to be delicious, you can pick up your nice 4 for $4 at your local PetroServe USA. All right, I shared with you a few moments ago that I went to go see my chiropractor, and they said, "Hey, you know, I've been doing this for 16 years, never seen so many people so sick, and so many of them being sick over the past 16 years." Just before the show, we got an email from East Grand Forks saying this: East Grand Forks family and staff members. The reason for the correspondence is that there's been a transition to distance learning at the senior high school for the remainder of the week. Listen to this. Close to 200 students at the senior high are out. Close to 200 students at the East Grand Forks, Minnesota senior high school are out because they are not feeling well. They've had reports of influenza A, and then a small number, it says here, a small number of COVID cases. So now you've got a school that has to go to distance learning because so many people are not feeling well. So joining us now, Dr. Jake Schmitz. He is with the Freedom Wellness Center. You can check it out on Facebook. And he's just been doing some phenomenal work as far as helping people better understand their immune system, how to empower themselves around their health, and really develop health freedom. So, Dr. Jake, it's great to have you with us, sir. I appreciate it. Your reaction to the fact of now they've got to go to distance learning and 200 kiddos are sick at a senior high school in East Grand Forks.
The biggest issue that I take with this is that no part of this conversation, and Chris, you and I have talked about this, no part of this is focused on being healthy, staying active, what you can do to avoid flus or avoid, we don't talk about that. And so it's no surprise now when we're not focusing on that at all to now have where kids are getting sick, and especially in a lot of these communities where they're forcing their children to wear masks all the time. Like, you're going to see a higher likelihood of certain viruses. That's fact. So it doesn't surprise me at all to see this.
So if you were to speak to, let's say, for example, the East Grand Forks superintendent or any parent out there and or grandparent, and you see that, hey, there's a flu or stuff that's going around, what can a parent be doing right now to help their son or daughter improve their immune system, and or if they're sick, to help them get over this even faster?
Well, I would say first and foremost is, like, especially this time of year, there's reasons why flu and viruses and bugs attack like right around after we get done with Halloween, and then it's Thanksgiving and Christmas, because we're consuming a lot of sugar. So it's a lot of stuff that's going to spike the immune system, be super inflammatory, and that's going to monkey with your immune system. So a lot more sicknesses occur when people eat like garbage. So trying to focus on less sugary foods, more whole grains, more fibrous foods, that alone will reduce the infection rate. Outside of that, vitamin D. Most important thing a parent can do is vitamin D. Super important.
Back up a moment, 'cause I love where you're going here. You're suggesting that if I go out and eat a bunch of sugar or unhealthy foods, how does that then lower my immune system to make me more susceptible to a virus?
What ends up happening, without getting too deep into immunology, is it sets off your Th1 immune response, which is the inflammatory immune system. So now we're inflamed. And anytime you're inflamed, you're going to have a certain cascade of hormones that's going to deplete the immune system. So when we talk about boosting the immune system, it's just talking about making sure the immune system is balanced. And that's what vitamin D does. And so when we have tons of sugary treats and candy and foods and all that stuff, like, it's all fun and fine and dandy to do that. But then just understand, you're more likely to get sick. And then now look what we see. We're going to see a whole school system getting shut down, especially in light of, the whole COVID craziness.
Hey, Doc, we got a question for you on our StreamYard. For those of you that are listening on the radio, just so you know, if you ever want to join us, we also do video. We stream the show every single day. You can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Chris Berg Show, Twitter, whatever your choice is when it comes to social media. And this question's from Kay. They say vitamin D is supposed to be important in the prevention and treatment of COVID. In the early days of COVID, Dr. Fauci said how much vitamin D he took, and it was many times the recommended amount. How much should a person take to try and prevent COVID? So great question. I'm going to give you a chance to answer that, and then I want to play a clip and get your reaction to it as well. But so vitamin D, what can people be doing to build their immune system as a prophylactic?
So a couple of things. First of all, the answer is a great question. So 5,000 international units is like a bare minimum. That's like minimum standard for an adult. A kid, anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000. The issue is you get the RDI, recommended daily allowance, RDA, which is 800. Yeah, you're not even close to what you need, which is why, especially up north, we have such a deficiency with vitamin D. So anywhere from 5,000, and if you're sick, or like if you're currently immune challenged or like you're struggling, you can go up to 20 to 40,000 units a day for at least a week or two without any kind of complications whatsoever.
So if I'm not feeling well, I can go and just plug my system full of vitamin D, and that's going to make an impact. Okay, so let's talk about this prevention piece, because I do want to give people an opportunity. We're going to speak prevention, and we're also going to speak, hey, if you've got COVID or you think you're on the brink of COVID, what can you be doing to boost up that immune system? Dr. Jake, I've had a ton of people reaching out to me that I know I've been referring to you for this COVID protocol. So before we get to that, I played this yesterday, but I just want to play because we have new listeners every single day. This is Dr. Peter McCullough. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. Please listen closely to this conversation.
You believe this is a premeditated thing that they were doing. So they realized that in order to get people enthusiastic about taking this vaccine, the best way to do that was to not have a protocol for treatment.
It's not just my idea. Now it's completely laid out by the book by Dr. Pam Popper, the book recently published by Peter Breggin, COVID-19 and the Global Predators, We Are the Prey. I wrote one of the introductions. Dr. Leafleet and Dr. Vladimir Lysenko wrote the other introductions. These books are basically nonfiction. They have 1,000 citations in the Breggin book showing how it was coordinated and planned. Now Bobby Kennedy has his book out, The Real Anthony Fauci. I'm the most mentioned physician in that book. I can tell you that if you want to find the evidence that Moderna was working on the vaccine before the virus ever emanated out of the lab, if you wanted to find the collusions and the operations between the Gates Foundation and Gavi and CEPI and Pfizer and Moderna and the vaccine manufacturers and the Wuhan lab and the National Institutes of Health and Ralph Barrick and University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and how all this was organized, if you want to see the Johns Hopkins planning seminar called the SPARS pandemic in 2017, where they had a symposium. People showed up. They wrote up their symposium findings. They published this. It says it's going to be a coronavirus. It's going to be related to MERS and SARS. It's going to come over here to the United States. It's going to shut down cities and frighten people. There's going to be confusion regarding a drug, hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin. And we're going to utilize all that in order to railroad the population into.
So Dr. Jake, he also wanted to say in another video that, hey, if we would have used a prophylactic approach and or a treatment approach, that we probably could have saved 85% of the people that we've now lost to COVID. I saw you shaking your head a lot during that video. So I do want to give you a chance to reaction to what Dr. McCullough said before we get into your protocol.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's most of that. I've had those same thoughts. And in fact, that's most of the stuff that I have found. All you have to know is like, look at what happened with ivermectin in India. And they started giving that out to everybody there saying, if you have any symptoms whatsoever, take it and take it for a couple of weeks. And they basically crushed COVID. Like it was gone like immediately. So no, I think that was what he just said. That entire clip, like he played again, that thing was spot on. Absolutely.
Let me ask you a question. You are a chiropractic, you're a doctor, you focus on freedom wellness. You're a functional practitioner, right? Is that that's the right term? Functional medicine?
Functional medicine. Yep.
So you and I talked about this, so I'm going to ask you on air, where can you get ivermectin?
I can't. I mean, nobody can. I mean, yeah, you can't. You cannot find it. Like I had some patients who were able to get it from Tractor Supply, but like, I mean, now they started basically saying, well, what are you going to use it for? I had one patient come in and try to get it, and they're, well, what are you going to use it for? And I'm like, on an animal, who cares? Like, just give them the freaking anyway, without getting upset about it.
Dr. Jake, real quickly, one more question here from Kay says, can a person with kidney disease take too much vitamin D?
Depends on the stage of the kidney disease, but generally speaking, I would say no. Vitamin C would be the issue you're thinking about there, because vitamin D is fat soluble. So generally, you're not going to run into an issue with your kidneys. I mean, unless you're thinking like 100,000 international units a day. But if you're taking 5,000, there should be no issue.
I got a lot of people reaching out to me asking questions about you from a health freedom standpoint, again, from a COVID protocol, boosting their immune system. So what, if people want to reach out to you, first off, what is your COVID protocol? And then if they want to reach out to you, how do they do that?
So the COVID protocol, really easily, I can kind of go through it, nuts and bolts, and I can give some better numbers, but it's zinc, quercetin, vitamin D, glutathione, and a good vitamin B complex. Now, each one of those serves a separate purpose. Zinc is important to block the viral replication and block the coronavirus from getting into the cell. Quercetin is an ionophore, so it's basically a bioactivator of zinc, makes it work better. And it also is an immune modulator. Vitamin D is an immune modulator. And so glutathione is an antioxidant, and B complexes so that you have the energy to do the things you want to do. So the easiest way, you can go to my Facebook page, Freedom Wellness Center, or you can call my office if you want the protocol. People have been doing that, and we'll ship anywhere. 701-356-3242. And then the girls know what to do.
701 what? 356 what?
356-3242.
And the Facebook page again is just Freedom Wellness Center?
Yep. Freedom Wellness Center.
Check out Freedom Wellness Center. If you're looking for someone that can help you boost your immune system, help you from a nutritional standpoint to empower yourself and have that health freedom that we just talked about and improve your vitality, give Dr. Jake a call or check him out on Facebook. Now, when we come back, Dr. Jake, you may know him because he's done an outstanding job of covering the Fargo School Board meetings and sharing his point of view on that. So when we come back, there was a school board meeting last night. We'll get the highlights on that. What's the most important thing that you need to know from last night's meeting that impacts you and your family? We're going to have that with Dr. Jake and much more coming up right after this. Number to call into the show, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100.
Dense fog continues into this afternoon. It will improve as we head towards evening. Then we'll keep an eye on snow developing after about 6 p.m. tonight. It could start out as a wintry mix, and it could become heavy after around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. We'll see the winds pick up out of the north at 20 to 45 and gusting over 50. Total snowfall accumulation overnight about 1 to 3 inches, with heavier amounts possible out towards the lakes area. Remember, you can always find the full forecast at am1100theflag.com. From the Flag Skywatch Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki.
Happy holidays from a cutting edge. How would you like to save thousands of dollars on a diamond? And how about saving hundreds and maybe thousands on a mounting? Well, now you can do it at a cutting edge. We've combined our diamond sale with our great mounting sale. For the first time ever, you can save more money than you ever could before at a cutting edge gallery of jewelry. So if you want the biggest, whitest, brightest diamond, no matter what your budget, come to a cutting edge, 4507 33rd Avenue South, Fargo.
The generous one. Generous Jerry from Gold Silver Exchange, Grand Forks, 2124 Gateway Drive is with us. Jerry, what's COVID-19 done for precious metals?
Well, we've seen a good buying spree come with the precious metals. We were behind in delivery of product because product was becoming scarce. But as of now, we're caught up. We have good inventory. The COVID-19 has had an effect on precious metals around the country. When fear strikes, people flock to precious metals. Of course, that will drive the price up.
Why is that? When fear is out there, people are scared and they flock to precious metals. Why are they doing that?
Historically, gold and silver have always been real money. And when people get fearful, they want the real stuff.
A name you can trust to maneuver you through these waters. Generous Jerry and the team at Gold Silver Exchange, Grand Forks. Call them at 701-746-9950. Tell them Scott sent you.
Don's Car Wash is now offering our new unlimited exterior wash packages at both the 52nd and 13th Avenue locations. Simply choose between the works, protection package, or base club. Then enjoy unlimited exterior washes at both locations for one low price. Plus, club members can add interior cleaning a la carte at Don's on 13th. No one puts a smile on your car like Don's Car Wash. Stop in today at either Fargo location to ask about the Unlimited Wash Club or go online at donscarwashes.com.
News breaks every minute.
Now millions of Americans are turning to Newsmax when they really need to know. It's the fourth highest rated cable news channel in America, with the latest on COVID, Biden's inflation, and the real truth from Washington. Forbes calls Newsmax a news powerhouse. Find out why. Tune in today on the Chris Salcedo Show as he probes the new vaccine mandates for adults, for seniors, and now even for children. Salcedo asks the tough questions and reveals the real dangers the media won't. Salcedo tells you the facts, so tune in to Chris Salcedo on Newsmax, on RTC, DACTEL, NDTC, NCC, Consolidated Cablevision, DirecTV, Dish, Fubo, and more. If your cable operator doesn't carry Newsmax, demand it or get Newsmax streaming on American Fire, Samsung, Roku, Xumo, Pluto, LG, YouTube, and more. Millions are also watching the Newsmax app on their phones. It's free to watch Newsmax anywhere, anytime. I trust Newsmax, so should you.
Up on the housetop, reindeer paws. Out jumps good old Santa Claus. Down through the chimney with lots of toys. All for the little ones' Christmas joys. Ho, ho, ho. Who wouldn't go? Ho, ho, ho. Who wouldn't go? Up on the housetop, click, click, click. Down through the chimney with good Saint Nick.
Wow, I don't know if I know this song. I like it though. It's like, I think what just happened is producer BG just played the song I would play if I found out, hey, guess what, Chris? The state of North Dakota now has no property taxes. You are free. Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show. Yes, this is your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Staying with us here right now is Dr. Jake Schmitz. As if you probably know the name, he does a great job covering the Fargo School Board meetings. I mentioned earlier in the show that yesterday, we talked about these mobile vaccination units that are going to be going around to all of our schools. I did get some statements back from Fargo Public Schools, also from Family Healthcare. Dr. Jake, thanks so much for sticking around. I guess let's start with you, and then I want to go to a piece from the meeting last night. So for our audience here, and you know what? God bless you for the fact that you're taking 2, 3, 4 hours. What is it? Twice a month? Once a month?
Twice
a month to actually watch every minute of these meetings, because I can imagine how painful that can be at times. But boy, you are providing a tremendous amount of service and value to our community. So for the people that don't take the time that you do to watch these, what's the most important thing our community should know about what happened in last night's meeting?
So what's really interesting is one of the school board members, Dr. Tracy Newman, it doubles and also gets paid by the city and the county as the county health officer. So when it comes to the mask mandates that have been doled out, we've been told this whole time Fargo Cast Public Health is doing it, not knowing that she is in fact the one who's coming up and making all these recommendations. And then she turns around and votes on them in the school board meeting, and she doesn't think there's a conflict, even though I can't even make this up, Chris. She gets paid $6,066 a month for her salary at Fargo Cast as the health officer. And then she also gets, I believe it's $1,000 to be on the school board. So it's kind of double dipping. And I think that being brought to the light and being exposed is huge for parents to understand, where are these recommendations really coming from?
So she's coming up with recommendations, and then what you're suggesting is that she should be recusing herself from any votes in regards to things that are specific to health in regard to the students. Yeah. Yes?
Well, yeah. The definition of a conflict of interest is one where you're getting paid by both sides. So that you should need to take a step back and say, hey, I can't be part of this because of that. But the way the school board does it is, if she feels that there isn't a conflict, then there really isn't one. So that's
if I'm her, Jake, just to play devil's advocate, I'm gonna say, but Jake, you're a doctor. I'm following the science.
Well, if she was following the science, then we'd be looking at what's happening between West Fargo and Fargo.
Well played, my friend. So why don't you set that up for people that here's the thing.
Right back to you.
You want to compare, and this is for the audience real quick, and then Jake will explain.
Yeah.
If we were going to make some comparisons around what is actually working in communities, this is a serious question for the audience. Yeah. Do you think it's better to compare Fargo with Shakopee, Minnesota, which is a few hours away outside of Minneapolis? So should we be comparing data from Fargo to Shakopee or Fargo to West Fargo? Which one do you think, audience, would have a better relativity in regards to making comparisons? And Jake, explain why I'm asking that question, please.
Yeah, so not this school board meeting, but the prior one, the president, Rebecca Knutson, made a comment that, this really close school district, Shakopee, Minnesota, which is 3 hours and 45 minutes away, they had to close down because of COVID. And so she made it this big thing, they had to close down. And so we don't want that. And so keep the masks on. And yet when you look into the story, it was leading up to Thanksgiving. And they said, hey, we got people are getting sick right now. Let's just give them an extra couple days for the holiday. They can take a week off and we'll come back refreshed. So, but yet it's inappropriate to compare West Fargo because that just for some reason is too far.
Well, there's a road in between the two cities. So that makes sense.
Clearly.
I want to go to line 1 real quick, just because we've got some good news here for our audience. It sounds like, and then Jake will get back to the school board meeting, but let's go to Susie on line 1. Susie, welcome to the show. It sounds like you've got some good news for our audience. What do you have for us? Susie?
This is JR.
Oh. Somehow we thought we had a Susie on the line. JR, were you going to talk to us about ivermectin, or are we having
Ivermectin, yes.
Oh.
People who are interested in getting interested in getting ivermectin can get it from 7cells.com. It's a formulating pharmacy in Florida. It's SEVENCELLS.com. We got it for our family, and I've got several kids that live around the country, and I think I've got 3 or 4 that have had COVID. They've gotten ivermectin, and within 2 or 3 days, they start feeling great. Getting back to the previous caller, I take between 5 and 10,000 milligrams of IUs of vitamin D every day, and I've been exposed to COVID 5 or 6 times directly and have not gotten it. So vitamin D, I think, is a real important thing. I take quercetin every day, and I agree with the previous caller. You can prevent it if you take care of your health.
Boy.
Exercise, get a good diet, and maybe I'll get COVID. If I'm going to get one, that the current variant seems to be the one to have, that it doesn't have many severe side effects. But that's my personal experience, and that's where we got ivermectin without any problem. They've got an online doctor that will look at your health history, and then they send it directly to your house.
JR, thank you so much for calling in. Thank you for the information. We may use that as a testimonial for Dr. Jake as well about, hey, the vitamin D and the quercetin. I mean, you might be the first sort of layperson I know that knew quercetin, so good for him. I want to play one clip from last night's school board meeting, Jake, and then just get your reaction to it. This is Cassie Schmidt. We had her on yesterday. She's the executive director of Let Parents Decide That. What a novel idea. Let parents decide that. We talk often here about VAERS, and so Cassie and I was going to mention something about VAERS specifically to North Dakota in regards to the COVID shot and kids.
About VAERS data. We've already, up until December 3rd, there have been a total so far of 61 VAERS cases reported for children under the ages of 18 in North Dakota alone, just 61 North Dakota specific cases relating to children. And one of those cases was a 12-year-old child that received an entire vial of the COVID-19 vaccine. You guys, this is scary. An entire vial. 1/6 of the vial is what the actual dosage is supposed to be. Now, this happened in a full-blown medical facility. What's going to happen in a van parked outside of the schools?
So she's referring to the mobile vaccination program that's happening here at Fargo Public Schools. You just heard her talk about it. You're supposed to get 1/6 of the vial. This young person got an entire vial of the vaccine. Now, I don't know what exactly VAERS said about the adverse event that took place, but Dr. Jake, your reaction?
I think that's absolutely terrifying to me. I mean, that's 61. We've had 61 events. And by the way, there's a study that was done on this a handful of years ago, but VAERS, typically it's a 1% reporting. So do the math on that. If we had 61 events reported and only 1% actually get reported, that is potentially way more. And I just pulled up the North Dakota Department of Health site. There's been a grand total of 2 deaths. Now, it's tragic. I don't want to minimize that, but we've had 2 deaths, 19 and under, since the beginning of this a year and a half ago. So like, we got to remember to keep perspective on this. Like this, especially the Omicron variant, that isn't going to kill you. Like it's not going to kill your kids. The idea that we're going to go to a vax van down by the road, it just baffles my brain.
You mean down by the river?
Down by the river? I didn't want to go there. I was doing the arm thing.
I live in a van down by the river. Dr. Jake, real quickly, thank you for the insight, because when we come back, I want to read the email I got from Fargo Public Schools and Family Health in regards to these mobile vaccination units. So quickly, how can people get a hold of you again, Dr. Jake?
You can call the office for the COVID protocol or to talk to me, 701-356-3242, or find me on Facebook, Freedom Wellness Center.
Freedom Wellness Center, and I will let our audience know, because we talk about it here every day on the show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Dr. Jake is wearing a hat that says, legalize freedom. Legalize freedom. Also, I'm going to be off the week after Christmas, and Dr. Jake will be subbing for me, so have a blast with him, folks, and give him a good time. He'll be here the last week in December, and we'll probably have him on again next week for like a little wellness update, and just to reintroduce you to him for that last week after Christmas. So Dr. Jake, great job. We appreciate it. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, it's fun as always.
All right, stay with us when we come back. If you want to call in and share your point of view on anything, please do so. 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. We're going to have a few moments when we come back where I do want to read for you, what the Fargo Public Schools said about these mobile vaccination units. Plus, we have a very special guest coming up on tomorrow's show. I'll tell you who that is right after this.
Oh, come all ye faithful. This Christmas season, our Shields family would like to take a moment to pause and recognize the people who surround us. We're grateful for the blessings of family and friends who support and guide us. From moms and dads, brothers and sisters, friends and neighbors, thank you for your kindness and care. From all of us at Shields, thank you and have a Merry Christmas.
Powerball draws on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, and the jackpot has climbed to $333 million. Wow! Get your tickets now for tonight's drawing, the North Dakota Lottery. Imagine the possibilities.
Your school can earn up to $10,000 this year. Just save the UPCs from the Country Hearth products your family already enjoys. Learn more at loavesforlearning.com. That's loavesforlearning.com.
Gift wrap your home this holiday season in any color of the rainbow. Whether it's window treatments, shades, wood finishes, wallpaper, or paints and supplies, Hirschfield's has everything you need to spruce up your home. Our team of trusted experts are here to help answer all your questions and help make your decorating dreams come true. Everyone here at Hirschfield's would like to thank you for your continued business and wish you a Christmas full of happiness and cheer. Hirschfield's, your color experts.
Have you been talking about replacing your cabinets or updating your lake home? What's holding you back? Or maybe you haven't been to Broughton Cabinets. At Broughton Cabinets, we have a team of full-time designers that will help you through every step of your journey. Whether you're building your dream home or remodeling your current home and need to update your cabinets, we're here to help. No matter the design or your budget, Broughton Cabinets will make your vision or dream home a reality. Stop by our showroom on the I-29 Frontage Road or visit us online at broughtoncabinets.com.
Jessica from Stonetown Grill is here. We're talking great food and great times. And people might not realize how you can help with a company catered event, either here or on location, maybe something for the holidays.
Yeah, the holiday season is coming up fast, and we can help you if you're wanting to do an event and host it in the restaurant. We do have a nice meeting room that holds up to 24 people, and there's no charge to reserve that room. You just have to reserve it ahead of time for your event. We also offer catering if you're wanting to do something on site for your own business. We have great platters, salads, soups, desserts. We have all different options for you there, and we can help you pick out how many you would need to have a great event.
What's really cool too is it's chili season as we get into the chili months, and at Stonetown Grill, you take the sauces, perfect for marinade and for making chili.
Yeah, we have great sauces to make chilies with. They're great bases to go with all the beans and veggies and everything you'd put into a chili. I especially like using the Tex-Mex and the Bear Beret.
Online at StonetownGrill.com, open daily 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Locally owned and operated. All soups, the salads, the dressings, all made from scratch every day. Bring the family to Stonetown Grill, corner of 32nd Avenue South and Veterans Boulevard, right in front of Cashwise.
You hear Silver bells, silver bells, it's Christmas time in the city.
Oh, I love Christmas songs. Thank you, producer BG. Put a smile on my face. Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show. This is your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Free from tyranny, free maybe financially, health freedom, whatever is most important to you. We here are going to transform your life to help set you free. We've been talking a lot about these mobile vaccination programs at Fargo Public Schools. So I did reach out to Fargo Public Schools yesterday and said, it was sort of like, why? Like, what do we need mobile vaccination programs for? I want to share with you the response from Fargo Public Schools, also from Family Healthcare, because that's who Fargo Schools has teamed up with to execute this program. So Anne-Marie Campbell, the executive assistant to the superintendent, said, hey, Chris, thanks for reaching out. We've partnered with Family Healthcare in town to offer influenza and COVID-19 vaccine clinics in their mobile unit at each school. 23 schools total. This is an opt-in vaccination opportunity for families. The clinics will be happening at our schools in December, January, and into February for the second doses for the COVID-19 vaccine. Since they will be offered at all schools, it is open to students of all ages. Only students who have returned completed consent forms will be able to participate. Well, one of the important things to know about these consent forms is that if you've got maybe a dual parent home, meaning, that the parents are separated, divorced, whatever, and one parent is pro-vaccine, the other parent is against the vaccine, they only need one signature to put the shot in your son or daughter's body. I say this to you because last night, Dr. Robert Malone, the inventor of the mRNA technology that is for these COVID shots, he actually put out a video statement in regards to, please know this before you give your son or daughter the COVID shot. If you want to go to our Facebook page, it's facebook.com/Chris Berg Show, or any of our social media channels, but go to facebook.com/Chris Berg Show. I did post Dr. Malone's statement there. So if you want to get the inventor of the mRNA technology's insight into his point of view on whether or not your son or daughter should get this shot, I think he brings up some very, very important points to consider. Again, consult your own doctor, but he gives you, I think, some very interesting things to know. Now, Family Healthcare, Corey Walden, he's the administrative project manager there. So this is the organization that's got this mobile unit. I reached out to him as well. Kudos to him. He did get back to me. He says, hey, Chris, got your voicemail regarding our mobile unit. It's in use within our community. He's going to be out of town, he says. Here's his statement that I think is important to you. Due to several grants made available to Family Healthcare over the past 2 years, we were able to recently purchase a custom-designed mobile medical and dental clinic. As the only community health center in the region, there is a continual need to be able to serve those that may have challenges in receiving medical and dental care. Those challenges can be related to financial limitations, ethnic and cultural barriers, language barriers, as well as residents that mobility or transportation barriers. Although we have several clinics throughout the region, we felt that there remain a large number of people in the region who still aren't able to obtain health care. The mobile unit reduces in many cases and removes these barriers with the COVID pandemic, creating a dire need to provide both COVID testing and vaccination services. We're now able to bring that to the people. There's a little bit more to it. And again, we'll probably post these on our social media channels so you can see both statements in their entirety. And I just wanted to share that with you so you've got a little bit more, I guess, context, clarity, understanding of what's happening here within Fargo Public Schools. And again, please look at the data and ask yourself, do we need mobile vaccination units to give our kids this shot? I don't know. You may have heard the news last week. It was announced North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum heading down to the border. Borders are being overwhelmed now by asylum seekers, illegal immigrants. So he's going down there to support the North Dakota National Guard. He will join us on tomorrow's show to talk about his experience down at the border. And of course, much, much more. If you've got any questions for Governor Burgum, you can let us know, but he'll be on the show tomorrow right here on the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free.
Your farm and business depends on a reliable source for energy. PetroServe USA is the customer-owned co-op committed to being a stable source of fuel for your equipment and propane to dry your grain. We have the capacity to make sure you never run out of fuel and to keep prices stable. Dependability, competitive prices, and exemplary service. That's PetroServe USA, helping America fuel better.
PetroServe.
Call today